A love from the past will mark the love from today.
I love you, Mauro. I love you like I have never loved before.
Now the same obsession that ruined the past will try to destroy the present. Only this time, love will have more than one obstacle ahead.
I need a doctor to tend to her right away. Please, miss. A doctor. Call a doctor.
Loving you is all I want.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
See you more often, Lucilo. In China, we could.
You promise I won't lose my job?
Lucy, you won't lose your job because you won't let anything go wrong.
Okay.
Glenn, ulikuwa wapi kutumezisha moto yote?
Been doing police work.
And
Nancy is dangerous.
Thank you so much. I'll forever... I don't have much time. Glenn is here.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tutakuza strawberries na tujifunze mbinu mpya kupanda mimea kwenye kijisehemu kidogo.
Tumemaliza. Sasa tuko kwa the second level na the difference now ni 3 inches. So hii ndio sasa the first terrace tumetengeneza na terrace ni 3 inches. Na hapo ndio sasa tutapandia mimea baada ya kufanya installation.
Ungana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel
1. This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
To get the discussion, you need to talk.
Yes, we need to talk. The worst 3 words you ever have to hear.
Not really. I think because both of us were coming with our own baggage, and ours was more of a whirlwind courtship. Like basically there was no courtship.
If your girlfriend got pregnant, she was put in front of the church and she was told to confess her sin to the whole congregation.
God has been faithful. Like we really cannot attribute anything else or anyone else to our marriage working but God.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit.
Quickbit?
Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder.
399 shillings.
Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua free. Shilingi 2 unaweza nunua micro. Shilingi 5 unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16 kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Channel 1 Lunchtime News. I trust you're having a lovely Friday so far. Well, remember, this is an interactive segment where you can interact with us on our Twitter handle at KBC Channel 1 or at Jacky Wambiru. Well, we have a comprehensive bulletin lined up for you. Some of the stories that we shall be taking a look at are in the business world, as well as matters of politics, as well as matters of health. And for now, well, we shall kick off the bulletin. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Simon Karotha. Well, Kenyans have been urged to embrace renewable energy to cut on cost of services and also as an alternative way to deal with effects of climate change, as the government plans to map out areas that have potential for renewable energy. Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation Director Alex Chisosi said green technologies will reduce effects of global warming and help Kenyans get energy at a lower cost.
Kenya's electricity demand expanded to 1,944 megawatts compared to 1,804 megawatts attained in February 2020 amid the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen. And earlier this year, the utility firm reported that there was a drop in demand in April and June of this year, the statistics confirming that Kenya is yet to embrace renewable sources of energy.
Basically, we depended a lot on fossil energy, but now there's a lot of information and sensitization on renewable energy, and the Kenyan people embrace technology very fast, and in a few years from today, I think this is the way to go. We will go clean. You of course know Kenya plays
Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation REREC Director Alex Chisosi said the assent on Energy Bill 2019 by President Uhuru Kenyatta has given a green light to serious investments on renewable energy.
So the expanded mandate included solar, biogas, biomass, cogeneration, tidal energy, all the aspects of renewable energy.
Speaking during an inspection tour of Bukura Renewable Energy Center in Kakamega, Chisosi pointed out that county governments could also partner with the Ministry of Energy to set up demonstration centers to offer training and capacity building to residents in areas that are viable for renewable energy.
Basically, it's a center of excellence where the local citizens come here, so that we can take them through the different variables of renewable energy we have here.
The use of biogas, whereby we derive the gas from cow dung, that is the animal waste, and we usually try to promote that technology, that the locals embrace it, because most of our farmers around do keep animals.
According to eco-experts, a renewable energy farm, Kenya emerged as the least toxic country globally, followed by Tanzania, Ethiopia and Mozambique. Alan Aoko, Channel 1 Business.
Now, in matters politics, the woes facing Nyandarua County Assembly Speaker deepened after the courts ordered the County Assembly opened with immediate effect. Now, the court also cautioned the Speaker against interfering in House business amid an impending impeachment motion against him. MCAs were Wednesday forced to pin a notice of impeachment on the door of the clerk's office after they found the County Assembly offices locked. Nyandarua County Assembly Speaker is a man under siege as a section of MCAs seek to impeach him over what they term abuse of office. Attempts by the MCAs to serve the clerk Mukiri Meshiri with a notice of motion to impeach the Speaker have been turbulent, prompting the ward representatives to resort to unorthodox means and pin the impeachment notice on the door. And in a new twist, the courts have ordered the County Assembly offices be opened and cautioned against frustrating House business. The impeachment motion against the Speaker, who is also the County Assembly's forum chairperson, is expected to be tabled in the County Assembly on Thursday, the 24th of December.
The court order issued by Justice Charles Kariuki paved way for the gazettement of the impeachment date by Deputy Speaker Zachary Njeru. In his application, Njeru had moved to court over unprocedural closure of the county assembly by the speaker in a bid to scuttle the impeachment motion against him. More than 30 ward representatives approved and signed a letter inviting the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate Wahome over corruption and abuse of office allegations. The MCAs, led by Assembly Majority Leader Ednard Kingori, are accusing the Speaker of corruption and unethical practices through nepotism by employing at least 10 members of his immediate family.
Now moving on, the Malindi Water and Sewerage Company has embarked on an overhaul of sanitation and solid waste management in Malindi town. The 5-year action plan is expected to breathe new life into the town, which has been choking from a solid waste for years.
Efforts to revive Malindi as a tourist destination have received a major boost thanks to a 5-year action plan that will improve waste management in the town.
And one of the resources is being fragmented responsibility among various players, and the fact that an adequate coordination mechanism is still missing. I'm happy to know that in both plans, the issue of the institutional framework is being worked out formally, and this is key.
Kilifi County Executive Committee member Mochitu Kiringi says the county has set aside 30% of its budget towards the development project.
And today, we are not only talking about fecal site management, but we'll also be talking about solid waste management, especially for Malindi and Watamu. I think this plan is coming at a time when, as a county, we have already done the Solid Waste Management Act. What we need to do now is to look at the plan and look at what is actually in the act, synchronize, and then we move forward.
The project, which shall be undertaken by the Malindi Water and Sewage Company, is expected to boost Malindi's upgrade program. Just like its coastal neighbors, Malindi has been struggling with solid waste management, a vice that has continued to impact negatively on tourism.
Now, in other news, Nyamira Governor John Nyagarama has died at a Nairobi hospital where he had been admitted undergoing treatment. His family has confirmed. County Secretary James Ntabo Friday said the family was preparing to move the body to Lee Funeral Home. Now we link up with our reporter Nancy Okware, who is at the Lee Funeral Home, to give us more details on what's happening on the ground.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Jacky Wambiru. Indeed, we are coming to you live from the Lee Funeral Home right here in Nairobi, following up on the demise of the Nyamira County Governor, John Nyagarama, who died this morning, early morning. The news of his death was broken to the public by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who was here at around 7 a.m. And of course, he was accompanied by the family members. All they said is that the late governor, all the family needs right now is cooperation from members of the public, and indeed to give them enough time to continue mourning alongside the people of Nyamira County. There is not much activity that is ongoing right here at the funeral home. The last leader who came here was the former FKF president, that is Sam Nyamweya, who was here at around 11 a.m. and he was here to condole with the family, saying that indeed the people of Nyamira and Kenyans at large have lost a visionary leader who was dedicated to serving the people of his county. Nyamweya also called on Kenyans to be cautious and indeed protect themselves from the effects of COVID-19, even as the Kenyan government continues to seek ways of ensuring that a vaccine is in place. Of course, the other leaders that have been condoling with the family of the late governor include President Uhuru Kenyatta, who through a statement said termed the late Nyagarama as a distinguished and true servant of the Kenyan people. Other leaders include the Deputy President William Ruto, who through his Twitter account condoled with the late governor's family, and of course he said that he was a champion for devolution. Also, the ODM party leader Raila Odinga condoled with the family through his Twitter account, and he said that indeed the people of Nyamira have lost a visionary leader. He was a champion for devolution. The late governor died at the age of 74. He was undergoing treatment at the Nairobi hospital, where he was admitted for several weeks after developing complications. And today, indeed, the family confirmed the worst, that he had indeed lost his life. He will be remembered for having contributed immensely in the tea sector in the country, having been part of the KTDA. And of course, the leaders who are here said that he was able to offer employment opportunities to the young people through his position in the tea sector. And also, he was once a teacher. Hence, during his first term as governor for Nyamira County, he was able to serve in the education committee. Remember that he becomes the third governor in Kenya to die while in office. The first governor was in Nyeri County. We had Anderito Gachagua, who succumbed to pancreatic. He died while undergoing treatment in London. And also the Wahome Gakuru, the governor for Nyeri County, died in the year 2017 November after being involved in a Grizzly Road accident. Indeed, it is not so good news, given that recently the country also lost Senator Kabaka, who was also undergoing treatment. And indeed, we will continue keeping tabs on what is happening here at the Leaf Funeral Home. We expect that any moment now we will be receiving the Council of Governors, who will be here to speak and perhaps condole with the family. And indeed, we will be giving you more updates as soon as we get them. For now, I hand it back to you, Jacky Wambiru, at the Broadcasting House.
Well, that was Nancy Okware giving us an update from the Lee Funeral Home, where the governor has been hailed as a champion of education, the tea sector, as well as a devolution. May his soul rest in peace. We shall keep you abreast of developing details on that. Now, we take a short break for now. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys.
Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua pizza. Shilingi mbili unaweza nunua microwave. Shilingi tano unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
A love from the past will mark the love from today.
I love you, Mauro. I love you like I have never loved before.
Now the same obsession that ruined the past
will try to destroy the present. Only this time, love will have more than one obstacle ahead.
I need a doctor to tend to her right away. Please, miss. A doctor. Call a doctor.
Loving you is all I want.
And welcome back. Nairobi County Assembly Speaker Benson Mutura is set to be sworn in as the acting governor to oversee county operations hours after the Senate upheld the impeachment of Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. 27 senators last night voted to impeach Sonko, while 16 others opposed his impeachment and 2 opted to abstain from taking the vote. Mutura will now spearhead county operations for 60 days before a by-election is held in February 2021. Sonko was removed from office on grounds of violation to the Constitution, abuse of office, gross misconduct and crimes under the national law. And Nairobi County Women Representative Esther Passaris has urged the government to do more in protecting special interest groups in the country. The legislator says there is need to effectively address the rise in cases of gender-based violence, which has continued to disenfranchise a big fraction of Kenya's population.
Speaking during the 10th commemoration of the National Government Affirmation Action Fund, Nairobi County Woman Representative Esther Passaris said there is an urgent need to emancipate Kenyan women.
But as a representative of the people, I cannot discriminate against any one person. And I feel there will come a time that our government will recognize that we do have sex workers in Kenya. They are earning their income, whether it's from the bar or from the house. And at the end of the day, they need to also be supported.
The legislator used the occasion to push for a holistic approach to commercial sex work in the country.
At the end of the day, this is their trade, okay? And this is what they do, this is their business. And they want to be protected by the police, whether irrespective of the business they do. When they go and report a crime, they want to be protected. When they go to the hospital, they want to be treated. So when they want medication, they want to be given.
Commercial sex workers called on the government to move with speed and address gender-based violence in the trade.
And our news making headlines in the business world, commercial banks' profitability in the 10 months to October this year dropped to a 5-year low as COVID-19 scourge tampered with market dynamics. The Fresh Credit Survey report by the Central Bank shows that profit before tax tanked by 29.7% to 99 billion shillings compared to 140 billion shillings in the same period in 2019.
According to the report, tourism, manufacturing and the real estate sectors saw a drop in credit demand of 54%, 46% and 44% respectively. In the survey, 67% of the banks reported that the COVID-19 pandemic had negatively impacted the demand for credit. There was a 15.7% spike in the share of gross non-performing loans that accelerated by 55 billion shillings to 402.3 billion shillings. The sectors with the highest increase in non-performing loans include tourism, restaurants and hotels, transport and communication, as well as personal and household sectors. Banks now intend to intensify credit recovery efforts in the sectors in order to enhance the reduction of non-performing loans, therefore improving the overall quality of their asset portfolio. Despite the repeal of the interest rate cap in 2019, only 20% of banks indicated that the repeal had increased their lending to SMEs. 77% of the respondents indicated that the repeal of the interest rate capping law had no effect on their lending to SMEs. During the period under review, liquidity of the banking industry fairly remained stable at 52.76%. CBK says banks intend to deploy excess liquidity towards credit, mostly by lending to the private sector. CBK liquidity management through repos and interbank lending and investing in treasury bills and bonds. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Now, Coca-Cola is to cut about 2,200 jobs in its global workforce as part of a restructuring plan. At the end of 2019, Coca-Cola had around 86,000 employees but faces pressure on its revenues, which have been hammered by the pandemic. The soft drinks giant's restructuring has been accelerated by the coronavirus pandemic, which has seen the widespread closure of revenues where Coke is sold.
Coke has responded to the crisis with plans to restructure its business and slim down its portfolio. Coke expects job cuts to result in annual savings of between $350 million and $550 million, a spokesman for the company said. The bulk of the layoffs will be in the US, where it will shed 1,200 jobs. At the end of 2019, Coca-Cola had around 86,000 employees but faces pressure on its revenues, which have been hammered by the pandemic. Elsewhere, Google is being sued by 38 US states, accused of trying to make its search engine as dominant inside cars, TVs and speakers as it is in smartphones. Google has said in a blog that redesigning its search engine will deprive Americans of helpful information. The complaint was filed on Thursday by 38 US state territories with both Democrat and Republican prosecutors. In some ways, the latest complaint is focused on the $1 billion Google pays each year to ensure its search engine is installed as the default option on browsers and devices like mobile phones. And Peter Rowe, chief executive of biotech firm Deep Branch, is creating animal food from greenhouse gas to feed to animals. Rowe and his partners say they are trying to reduce carbon footprint of animal feed, which is often shipped around the world. The process, which is based on a proprietary gas fermentation process by which microbes are fed carbon dioxide along with hydrogen produced using an electrolyzer and water. Finally, British Airways has cancelled services to more than 15 long-haul destinations next year. Passengers have reported saying they have had trips cancelled in 2021 and are waiting for advice from British Airways on whether they will receive a refund or a flight voucher.
Well, away from that, we have a live interview segment whereby we shall be discussing the status of the tea sector with none other than Irongo Nyakera, who is the chair at the tea sector lobby. Well, welcome, sir. And he's right here in studio with us. And to kick us off, the National Assembly passed the tea bill, which will see the revival of the Tea Board of Kenya and adoption of new regulations to govern the tea sector. Now, tell us what maybe are the concerns of the tea farmers regarding the yet-to-be assented bill by the President. Yes, Mr. Nyakera.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very happy to be here on this. And in terms of the tea bill, actually there are no concerns from the farmers, because actually the tea bill and the tea regulations were started out, the tea regulations started out in 2014, went through multiple stakeholder engagements. The tea bill was presented to the Senate in 2018, so again has been on and off in terms of getting stakeholder engagements over the last 2 years. So the farmers are the ones who've driven the contents of the bill. It's actually not have not been created by the minister or by the president. It's just that the farmers' agitation is what has driven the contents of the bill.
Mm-hmm. So, moving on, the Kenya Tea Development Authority moved to court to stop the bill in its tracks. Maybe what are other options for tea farmers if the body does not withdraw these cases in 7 days?
Actually, what happened is we had two things. One was the tea regulations of 2020, which had been gazetted under Crop Act. And those, they were gazetted, they were passed by the National Assembly, and then Senate came in and rejected them. Although really we had issues on why the Senate had to come in. The KTD had also gone to court to stop the regulations. So with that, then the regulations are really in abeyance. And it doesn't really matter anymore, because what is the substantive, going to be a substantive act, is currently in the Tea Bill, because the regulations were under the Crops Act, and now once the Tea Bill passes, we'll actually create new regulations under the Tea Bill and the Tea Act. And from where the Tea Bill started, of course, started in Senate, came in, was approved by the committee of the National Assembly, then came to the plenary of the National Assembly, where it was also approved and was sent to the Senate. Senate, this week on Monday, the Committee on Agriculture also met and approved the bill. And as we saw from what the Gazette that the Speaker of the Senate put out yesterday, the Senate will be discussing Tea Bill on Monday. So we again hope and expect that the Senate plenary will pass it, at which point it will go to the speakers for them to take it to the president for assent. And then the journey of reform will officially have kicked off.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Tea Bill at the same time has been termed as a bill that has been a long time coming by a section of stakeholders, including the Ministry of Agriculture. How long do you feel it will hold the industry if it's assented into law?
In terms, because the Tea Bill is actually bringing a raft of proposals or proposed changes to the tea sector, and of course the biggest of them all, and which form the first section of the Tea Bill, is the bringing back the Tea Board. As we know, the Tea Board before was the one that was regulating the sector. It was the one that was actually doing a lot of pushing for the research, the tea sector growth and all that. And it was taken away when KTD was privatized. And at that point, the functions of the Tea Board were taken to AFA, the Tea Directorate within the Agriculture and Food Authority. So now that is what is being taken away from AFA into a Tea Board that specifically just deals with tea. The other thing that is going to change, and we imagine that it will come very soon, is the tea research was again taken away from the Tea Board into CALRO. And really, because it's part of the research for the entire country, there was no funding for it, meaning that the tea research also has not been done over the last 20 years, proper tea research. And that's why you're seeing probably productivity is coming down. Fertilizer customization is not really what is being done. Extension services that are being provided to the farmers are not, have not been done properly. So again, the tea research is going to come on and will help on all this. But I think what is most important to farmers is really about their earnings. What happens to their earnings? The tea bill speaks about how do you sell their tea, the farmers' tea. All the tea from the farmers is going to be sold through auction. Right now, about 20-25% is being sold through direct sales, and the prices that are being used to validate the price of the direct sales are the auction prices, but of non-premium tea, meaning that there is a lot of money that the farmers are losing through the direct sales. Issues of marketing, how is the tea going to be marketed? Issues of the money coming to the farmers on a monthly basis, how much money is coming to the farmers? Things like the guaranteed minimum return to ensure that even in bad years, the farmer still gets a good return that allows them to continue with their livelihood. All those things are actually contained in the Tea Bill and into the Tea Act. And that's why we are saying, with the implementation, with the assent by the president of the Tea Bill, then I believe within the next 6 months, we'll have seen quite a number of things already actualized and really ushering in what we feel will be a breath of fresh air for farmers, tea farmers in that sector.
What do you think are the changes that can be expected with the revival of the abolished Kenya Tea Board in this new current setup?
The Tea Board is actually going to be regulating the sector, and that's really what has lacked, because eventually, with the AFA, the tea directory being the one that is regulating it, it's not been structured in a way that allows that. It does not have a board, so governance is not there. It does not have a CEO. It does not have funding. So by bringing back the Tea Board, you're actually empowering a regulator who has teeth, who has muscle, who has finances, who has a proper mandate on what exactly they can do. Today, even if you ask AFA for information of how much tea was sold last month, who sold, and all that, they might not even have it. Yeah. So it really makes it difficult for us to grow the tea sector, for us to actually know what the issues are, for the cries of the farmers to be heard, because again, KTDA has become a monster in itself. It's become too big, and so they don't really listen to AFA. So Tea Board coming back in this with the power which will be entrenched in the Act, will be able to actually properly regulate the sector. The sector just needs a regulator.
So you say the Tea Board will streamline the sector. Well, tell us, why do you think the KTDA is opposing the bill to a point where they even moved to court?
KTDA has enjoyed being a monopoly in this space, on the tea space. And because currently they have about 660,000 farmers who deliver tea to KTDA, and it's KTDA that controls the entire ecosystem, from when the farmers deliver their tea to the buying center, all the way to when the tea is sold, how the farmers are paid, when they are paid, and when they are delivered for fertilizer, how the elections for the directors are done. So KTDA has enjoyed all that. And you see, nobody is happy when their monopoly is being taken away. And that's why they are fighting very hard. And of course, with them enjoying that for about 20 years, it means that there are also very many cartels that are formed around it. The ones who do the delivery of tea, the ones who sell the tea, the ones who actually determine the prices of tea. So all those are actually seeing that a regulator, there's someone else who's going to come to oversee their actions, and they will not. And the way the Act has been done, the farmer is supreme. Actually, the farmer's interest is actually what is going to be taken care of. The broker fees have come down on what the farmer pays from 0.75 to 0.55. The amount of money that the factories pay to KTDA has come down from 2.5% to 1.5%. The role KTDA plays in the election of directors has come down because KTDA no longer controls elections, because each tea factory will be employing their own company secretary. The role that KTDA plays at the auction will be enhanced, will be reduced, because every factory will now be a member of the auction house. The direct sales that where the cartels were feeding from have now been abolished, with 100% of the tea now to be sold through auction. So there is a lot that is changing, and the people who are very comfortable in that space feel that they prefer the status quo. But it's time that we start looking at if we retain the status quo, will the farmers continue picking tea? And we keep reminding the people from KTDA, your employers are these farmers, and you are created for you to help improve the earnings of these farmers. You are not created to sell tea to the world, because as long as these people are not getting value for their tea, they have no reason picking their tea. And that is what we want to bring back KTDA to understand and appreciate, that their role is actually every day when they wake up and get to the office is to figure, how do we improve the earnings of these farmers this month, this year?
Well, at the same time, KTDA, for some instances, has been cited as a case model on how to manage small-scale farmers, especially in Sri Lanka. Well, why is it not celebrated here at home?
Actually, Sri Lanka is one of the ones that we actually benchmark with ourselves as farmers and not KTDA, because Sri Lanka model is they sell their tea 100% through auction. Sri Lanka pays their farmers 2 or 3 times more than KTDA pays the farmers here. And the reason is Sri Lanka has invested heavily in value addition. About 55% of the tea out of Sri Lanka, which is Ceylon tea, which they've created, is sold value added. For us, 2% of our tea is sold value added, meaning that there's so much value that we are giving to the external markets than Sri Lanka does. In Kenya, a farmer gets 16% of the eventual sale price of tea, meaning that there's 84% that goes to all these middlemen between the farmer and the person who actually delivers it. So Sri Lanka does that much better. So in terms of KTDA, from where I sit, KTDA structure is actually a very good structure, and it's a structure that can actually deliver to the farmer. The problem is, because of the monopoly that they enjoy, because of the leadership crisis at KTDA, with leaders who've been there for about 20 years without being changed, and they've fully disconnected from the farmer, meaning that their interest and the interest of the cartels are the ones that they are looking out for, and not the interest of the farmer. So if we can actually change the leadership within KTDA and refocus the export to value-added tea, refocus to improving governance to ensure that farmers' money is not being stolen and being taken to litigate on issues that are not for farmers, then you'll start seeing farmers being paid that 2-3 times of what they're being paid today, in line with what they're being paid in Sri Lanka.
Do you think that the Kenyan tea sector can thrive without the KTDA?
You see, KTDA, the way it's organized, it has 660,000 farmers who it takes care of. So KTDA is not a problem. KTDA needs to be there, and that's what we have always said. KTDA cannot be disbanded. It is not owned by any of those individuals. Actually, KTDA is owned by 54 factories. Those are the shareholders of KTDA. The people masquerading there that KTDA, farmers need KTDA, we've been telling them that they will leave, KTDA will remain, we'll get new managers who will run KTDA better. But KTDA is not going anywhere. It's actually not even going to government. As farmers, we don't want KTDA to go to government. We want it to continue the way it is, the same structure, but we want it to improve on governance so that things that it does are for the farmers. We want it to improve on the opaque system that they have, opaque systems that have so many loopholes, and that's where the farmers' money get lost. We want it to improve on leadership. We want fewer the leaders who actually are fully attuned to what the farmers' interest is, and they're actually waking up every day to take care of the farmer interest. And we want them to focus on marketing. 55% of our tea is sold to 2 markets, Pakistan and Egypt. These 2 countries, if anything that happens, if their FX is devalued, their currency, like happened in Pakistan, if Egypt is kicked out of the goods to Comesa starts being taxed like is happening, then our tea is stuck in high seas with these 2 countries because it's 55%. But why not ensure that we are selling more tea to America? Last year we sold 2 million kilograms to America out of our 482 million kilograms. That is 0.00 something that is being sold to America. Why is in the US a big consumer of the Kenyan tea? So those are the things that we need to start looking at and saying, how can we improve the marketing of our tea? I asked some of the directors, why aren't we focusing on markets like Angola? Why aren't we focusing on markets like DRC where we don't sell any tea? Markets like Turkey, which are huge consumers of tea, and they love Kenyan tea because it's premium tea. Why aren't we selling our tea there? why aren't we selling to China, which is a huge market for tea, and they consume all their tea because they don't export any tea. So they have a requirement for import of tea. So we need to start spending money to market Kenyan tea and not to spend money to take farmers to court.
So yesterday there were protests by a section of tea farmers urging President Uhuru Kenyatta to sign the Tea Bill 2020 into law. Why do you think so far the president hasn't signed it into law?
The president actually, and which we have to thank him, on January 14th this year, when he was also appointing C.S. Munya as a Minister for Agriculture, in his State House address in Mombasa, he gave a raft of changes that he wants to see in the tea sector. And these are the changes that were already incorporated within both the tea bill as well as the tea regulations. And over that 1 year, the CS has really been pushing to ensure, to see how can we get the tea bill past Parliament, how do we get the regulations there, how do we ensure that all the stakeholders are aligned so that the interests is seen to be the farmer interest and not the government interest. And so the president has been ready to sign the bill into the act, but it's just that it's taken its time through the different legislative the legislative process, and we assume, our assumption is, seeing that the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Ken Lusaka, called for a special sitting on Monday, which I believe is the 18th the 18th or 19th of December. The assumption is that the president would like to sign this bill into the act before Christmas to give farmers an early Christmas.
Well, now moving forward, how best can farmers safeguard against the risk of interferences of their interests when it comes to tea revenues besides the tea bill?
Right now, we know that the tea bill is just one step away from approval, because with the Senate, once the Senate approves it on Monday, the only place that anyone can go after the president has sent is probably just the courts. So between now and Monday, we know that the actors within the tea side whose interest is being curtailed, so the cartels and other interested parties and busybodies, are all trying to rally certain senators so that those senators do not pass the bill. And of course, there are senators who don't come from tea growing areas, so really they've not been elected by tea growers, so by tea farmers. So those is to ensure that between now and then, even all these senators actually just appreciate the fact that the passing of the tea bill in itself means reforms in the tea sector. It means that we'll be ushering in reforms in the entire agriculture space, and all farmers, be it cashew nut farmers, be it macadamia farmers, be it sugarcane farmers, be it coffee or paredram farmers, all these farmers will start now rallying to have reforms also in their sector. So you might not have tea in your constituency or county, but then you have coffee or you have paredram. So by you as senators passing the tea bill, you'll be allowing and giving hope to the other farmers that actually change can come. And then once the tea bill and the act pass, we've seen courts coming in to stop implementation of many of these things that are pro Wanjiko and pro farmers. And that's why yesterday the farmers who had come for a peaceful protest, they went to the Milimani courts and they wanted to pass a message that they are for these reforms. And so nobody should feel that by stopping the reforms, they are speaking for farmers. And really the judiciary, we hope on this, they'll actually stand with farmers, because the cartels have money. But we need to stand with farmers, at least give them hope and give them something to actually smile for when they start seeing more money coming to them, when they start seeing that they have more power in that sector than they have today.
Well, there you have it. That was Irongo Nyakera, who is the chair of the tea sector lobby. Well, we shall take a short break. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing us with your presence. Let's take that break.
Next on.
Show me the way, show me the way. That season for making merry.
I can dance, I can sing, and I can do gymnastics.
Today I'm going to teach you how to make a Christmas card just like this one.
My name is Anthony Njore. I'm a tour driver. And I've done it for 8 years, and I'm proud and I like it.
Jerusalem, ikayalami, ilondoloze, uhambe nami.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Of course. Kinaju is to blame for the world coming down. Kinaju is to blame for the recent floods. Blame me even for the potholes on the road. Blame me for your stupidity. Blame me even for you coming to grocery.
Wow, Julia, you mean you are shining in gold nowadays?
Look at this document. Do you even listen to yourself before you speak?
Oh, please. We both know that I am a giver. Go spoil yourself, eh? I know you need it.
Well, thank you. I am not giving you a cut, Farah.
If you are referring to Kinanzui, you should know Kinanzui is no longer the watchman.
They have found someone else. This one used to behave like he was the old school.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Welcome back. Now moving on, residents of Manyata village in Maragua constituency are in shock following the discovery of the body of a minor that had been dumped in a farm. This comes as a 7-year-old boy was reported missing after he was abducted by the farmhand.
According to the residents, it was difficult to identify the body of the minor as it was badly mutilated and some parts missing.
Lakini kile ambacho kimeshtua watu wa kijiji hiki ni kupata mtu ambaye alikuwa ametupwa katika hilo shamba ambaye anafanana na binadamu, lakini kwa vile tumemuona na wakati tuliposhuhudia tuliona ni kama yeye ama sio yeye, lakini kwa vile askari wamekuja na wao ndio wana uwezo wa kwenda na kuangalia ili wafanye utafiti na wajue ni nani, wao ndio sasa wako katika ushukani.
Njuguna Mwirori, the grandfather of the 7-year-old, claims the farm had abducted their grandson last Sunday and left for Nairobi. He then asked for his pay and was sent for 4,000 shillings. Since then, he has been demanding a ransom of 50,000 shillings to free the boy, an amount the family declined to pay, only to later find the boy of a minor discarded in the farm.
Tukakuwa tulikuwa na mfanyakazi alikuwa anaitwa Mwaura. Aliweza kuiba mtoto huyu wa kiume Chege, akatoroka naye siku ya Jumapili tarehe 13. Alipotoroka naye alidai pesa za siku hizo alikuwa amefanyia kazi mpaka tarehe 13, shilingi 4,000 na tukamtumia.
The grandfather reported the incident to Sabasaba police station and was referred to the DCI offices in Makuyu to record a statement as investigations begin.
Nilikimbia polisi, nikaenda nikapiga ripoti, wakanipa ubi, nikaambiwa niende kwa CID Makuyu, na nikaenda nikaripoti hiyo mambo, na sasa akaniambia watafanya uchunguzi. Sasa bado anasakwa na CID.
Verifying the incidents, the area MCA, Karanja Kabera, says investigations are ongoing as they seek to determine the identity of the minor through DNA testing.
Na maana polisi wa Sabasaba wameingia wakachukua hiyo mwili na wanapeleka mochari, alafu wachuguse kama ni yule tulikuwa tunatafuta au ni mtoto mwingine.
The grandparents remain hopeful that the discarded body is not that of their grandson.
And in the sports arena, Manchester United boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says his side played brilliant football as they moved to 6th in the Premier League with a comeback victory over bottom club Sheffield United. Marcus Rashford's double ensured the visitors maintained their perfect away record in the Premier League this season, but it came after a horror start and a late scare.
Goalkeeper Dean Henderson, playing against his former club, gifted the Blades an opener. Rashford equalized after 26 minutes. His powerful strike from Victor Lindelof's through ball, giving L at the second attempt.
And from 0 to 60 in no time, and a disguised
Half alone and twice hit the old work.
Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has been named the top men's coach at the Best of FIFA Awards, with Bayern Munich forward Robert Lewandowski claiming Best Men's Player. The awards were held Thursday evening in Zurich, Switzerland.
Jurgen Klopp won the prize for a second successive season after beating off competition from Leeds boss Marcelo Bielsa and Bayern Munich's Hansi Flick, who were the other finalists for the award.
I have honestly so many people to thank, and especially and most of all my coaches. This morning we sat together and I thought, actually, if I would have known that I win it, that we win it, then they would have been all here and we would now stand left and right of me. So I have to thank Pep Linders, Pete Kravitz, John Achterberg, Vito Matos and Jack Robinson.
Spurs forward Heung-min Son won the Goal of the Year award for his stunning solo effort against Burnley last season. Meanwhile, Manchester City and England defender Lucy Bronze was named the Women's Player of the Year. Bronze won a third successive Champions League title with Lyon in August before returning to City later in the summer.
Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. We shall have more news in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Thank you for keeping it Channel 1. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Simon Karutha. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design,